Aloha, I'm Nubia Brown, and this is Redefined. In this episode, I'm going to be meeting with my friend Sam, and as I do her makeup, we're going to be talking about the real-life perspective of a model and how it's affected her life. So let's get to it. Okay, so you are in the Navy and you're here in Hawaii, and you said that modeling wasn't like really your thing, but you're still doing it here. So tell me a little bit about that.
I stopped doing it when I was 15 because I was really young in an industry that wanted me to do a lot of things to change who I was becoming.
Like what?
Well, when I signed with my agency, I was a bit slimmer than I am now, and when I signed with them, they were like, okay, we'll sign you, but you have to lose 20 pounds.
Oh.
Like, we need you to drop that as soon as possible, and then we can get you booked with all these different places. The thing was, like, during that time, when I would go see with other models, like, that was always the conversation. And I learned about so many ways that other models were doing it. Like, there's this one trick where you would soak a cotton ball in a cup of orange juice, and you would just drink the cotton ball, so that your stomach would feel full.
Oh, wow. I had never heard of that. That's crazy.
Neither had I.
Oh my gosh. And you were 15 when you learned that?
I was 15.
Oh my gosh. Did that affect? I mean, when I was 15, I was pretty insecure, and you're just trying to figure out so much.
It took its toll. And so my mom was completely on board with it. She's like, all right, she'll lose the weight. And so, in order to do anything, my mom would always make me walk places. She signed me up for a gym membership. You know, she was very supportive in this dream that I had, but upon the pressure of having to be a certain size, and instead of, hanging out with anyone, I was at the gym for 2 to 3 hours a day.
Oh, to lose that weight and become the size they wanted you to be. And
I ended up just going to the gym and sitting in the sauna or the locker room for hours. Because it was so uncomfortable just with the circumstances of why I had to be there to do this thing that I thought that I wanted, because it looks so much fun. It looks fabulous.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And it was really hard because I was also going through puberty.
Right.
My body, my dad's side of my genes just kicked in, and I started to get curves and these things that you can't have.
Sam got out of modeling, but years later, after maturing in her walk with God, she found herself back in the industry with an agency here in Hawaii.
And here in Hawaii, the main industry is bikinis, right? Swimsuits.
Right.
And that's great, but I don't do bikini stuff anymore.
Why is that?
Well, I don't. I think it's as close to being naked as you possibly can. It gets cold, No, but it's not what I want to represent, because there was a time where when I first came out here, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do all these things because since I'm with an agency now, I need to start promoting myself. So I'm going to use Instagram, and I'm going to, take these cute bikini photos, because I found that the less clothes that I wore, the more followers I would get.
I'm not saying this to be judgmental or critical,
condemn anybody,
but I'm just looking at the circle of what's going on, the influences of social media, and then the things that it makes women feel like they need to do to be somebody or to have worth or to feel beautiful. For a lot of us, that means validation.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's but these people are only following you not because they care about you or anything like that, but it's truly your body. They don't care about, especially men,
Yeah, that's who the followers were. They were dudes who DM'd me discussing things, and I'm just is this the image that I'm portraying, that I'm welcoming?
Right.
Do you think it's okay to do that because of what I'm putting out there? There's definitely a message that you send when you represent yourself in a certain way. And it was my experience that I don't think that I was doing anything particularly seductive, but I was still getting these responses. and it was like, that makes me uncomfortable, and it made me
Right.
close up. But I'm putting it out there. I'm putting my body out there.
You're I guess you're giving up. I
Felt
don't
like
know
I was
what
selling
would-
my soul a little bit.
Selling your soul, really?
Just a little bit, absolutely, because I was only doing this to
Yeah.
get followers, because I knew that would get me followers.
And do you think that helps your like working with
Modeling?
certain brands or your modeling career?
Absolutely. I think that social media is a great tool to reach people. It absolutely is. And for modeling right now, Instagram models, models that are signed with legitimate agencies, like they're one and the same as they use social media to help climb, because they can get promotions by other brands by putting themselves out there
Exactly.
and hashtags and all that other stuff.
And I've heard too that if you have more followers, then you're more likely to get
Jobs.
just because you're helping them out also, right?
Yeah. So now when you're going on go-sees or auditions, you're asked like, how many followers do you have?
Wow.
And it's like anything in life, like human beings, all of us, male, female, we're always searching for love and
Yeah.
validation and acceptance.
Yes. Yep.
It is the cause of so many good and so many not so good actions and choices that we make.
Definitely.
And that's the calculation that we make without even knowing it. We make the calculation of, I want to do this because they're doing this and they look like they're so loved and they have all this
And
attention.
happy, yeah.
Right, and we don't even know that calculation that we just immediately go through in our head leads to our insecurities
Sure.
and comparisons.
Right.
And it's so dangerous.
Right.
To just be scrolling on Instagram and be like, oh man, I wish I could do that or be like
my
that.
gosh,
And then you kind of
yes.
go into your own like little hole of, I mean, if I need to do that, I need to do this and this and that. It's so hard for me to, when I was trying to promote myself, it's so hard for me to go out and be cute and take a photo because I love sweats. And
Me too.
Yeah, and it was just so much pressure because I was in a mindset where, okay, if I look cute and we go here, I need to take a photo doing this, and I
And
need
it
to
controls
plan
your
it
whole
out.
day.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Oh my
so
gosh.
much time and energy, and
I
I'm just like,
know.
I could be reading a book.
Yes,
I
or
could be
doing
learning
something more
something.
productive.
Yeah.
I've done that so many times where I found myself like doing that, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm ruining my day for one photo for people that I
Right.
don't even know online to like my photo. Like, they're controlling my life. Strangers are controlling my life, and I'm letting that happen.
Yeah.
So you said that being a model, there were certain things that you didn't want to do because you didn't want to be perceived a certain way. Now, you're also a believer. How do you balance that with being a model and a Christian? What is that like in the industry?
It's taken some time to figure out that, because it's really not, for me, it's not a balance anymore, because I'm not balancing my faith, my relationship with God, with modeling. There is no balance. Like, you can't.
You don't like put one in a box and
Right. It's not like God. Oh, and modeling, we're on the same level.
it's
like
not
that's
compartmentalized.
absolutely not. But it was at a certain point in time. It was modeling first, and when it was modeling first, it was always a struggle first. So when I started to grow in my relationship with God, when I started to be able to understand what He was telling me to do, when I started to seek His guidance before what I wanted and the glamour that I was sort of seeking,
Right.
it was a no-brainer that it didn't quite make sense that on Instagram and social media platforms, I was like, look at my body, look at how sexy I can be, look at how thin I am, look at how curvy I am. There started to be a great divide, because then I would also want to post about God, and it's like, well, when I'm telling you that Jesus loves you for all that you are, with your sins, with your imperfections, and then I'm saying, look at how perfect I am and how cool I am and what I'm doing, and look at and pay attention to my skin. There was no question that it didn't quite make sense, because after posting one bikini photo, I would, get 30 followers in 30 minutes, and then after posting a comments about God or something praising Him, I would lose all of those followers, and it's just like, well, who is my audience? Who am I talking to?
Right.
I mean, what am I talking about? Because whatever you're posting, despite what we may believe or how we may justify it, it is what represents us.
It's true.
And it was convicting my heart, and because I was praying, God lead me, and I was feeling more and more deceptive when I would try to post these things for clout and for followers, and it's just like, wait, no, God, but I want to post about you. I want to talk about you because you're greater than this. But when you're posting bikini photos, it kind of overshadows. Like they don't necessarily match up when I'm saying, look at this, and then but this is what I'm talking about. Like in all honesty, I could try to justify it, and I have before with, oh, this is just my job. I'm just trying to promote my business, right? Versus, but this is what you're representing as a follower of Jesus Christ.
Wow.
And what's more important? When I try to represent myself on social media, it's no longer for the purpose of my own gain. Because the most important message that I want to put out there is that God is real, and He wants you, and He's a gentleman, and He's there for you, even if you don't know it, even if you're not ready for it.
So true.
He's there with this amazing love that's better than anything that we could get from the world, because it can bring you down when you don't receive it, when you get rejected. Oh my goodness, the modeling industry, the entertainment industry, there's so much rejection.
I've heard of that.
It's insane, because you're going out for, like I said, I was going out for like 5 jobs a week. I maybe got 2 or 3 a month.
Oh my gosh.
And it had to do with my size, so that made me feel like, I needed to lose weight, and I needed to be on diets, and I needed to be working so hard to do that. It was something that was attractive to other people, so I also wanted to please like those around me. I wanted to please my friends. I wanted to please, my mom. We're always seeking to please someone, but if we have someone first who just loves us for what we are, then it's like, you can breathe.
You're free.
Yes, you can take a breath and you can just be, and then you have a love in you that you no longer want to seek these things. You want to seek Him.
Right.
Because you've accepted that love.
Perspective.
Absolutely, it's life changing. And I'm not saying that modeling is a terrible thing to do. Not at all. It can be really fun. It can be very exciting, and it doesn't always include you taking all of your clothes off.
Right.
But so for me, for modeling now, like I have to make that distinction. Like, I don't want to do lingerie. I don't want to do swimsuit.
For you to just say those things, like, this is how I'm doing it based off of what convicts my heart with God. God is what I want to represent first, not modeling or you, but God. And saying, hey, there's still a way, you can still do that. You can still be a model. You don't have to take these photos. You don't have to do what you're not comfortable doing, I think is a much needed message.
Yeah, and thank you. And I don't think that it doesn't get me any more jobs, right? Having my relationship with God and having my restrictions based off of those for what I'm going to allow the world to have. So it doesn't make me any more popular. And when I do post or share what God is doing in my life, I probably lose followers every time I post, and that's fine, because that's what's important. And I find that when I put God first, everything kind of falls into place.
It does.
And that's awesome.
It does.
That's His promise.
Yeah. Amen.
It's better than anything that we could possibly imagine, right?
It is.
And I believe that with all of my heart, and it's so true, and it has always been true. So it's like I'm not at a loss if I don't have a job every week.
With modeling.
Yeah,
I can't imagine being rejected that much.
I think it is terrifying. To be honest, I don't remember the feeling of rejection at this point in my life. And I think that has a lot to do with where I am with God right now, and what He's done in my life is that, well, I can be rejected by these things that don't, at the end of the day, matter.
Picture somebody in the same shoes that you were in, struggling with the things that you were struggling with. What would you say to these girls in that industry or that want to be in that industry?
It has to be something, I think that anything that you do, I would hope that you're talking to God about it before you pursue it. Because if it's something that He has put on your heart to do, then it will come into fruition. And it won't necessarily be easy, because the world will bring us challenges. But if it's something that you feel like through your prayer, and through your alone time with God that He is convicting you to do something, then go for it. And be not afraid, because, I mean, if He is with you, who can dare be against you, right?
Yes.
But if it's something that you're pursuing or that you want because everybody else wants it, because it's the popular idea, because it's the loudest idea, because the loudest idea can be very appealing, it doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it your path. Even if I didn't have a relationship with God, I should still question my motives for any choice that I make.
Because there's so many hidden influences that we might not realize.
Right.
And then we go down that path and it doesn't bring us the satisfaction we thought it would.
Yeah.
Right? For the liner, I went in with e.l.f. Cosmetics liquid liner in jet black. I love it. It does a great job and it's accessible in most stores and it's inexpensive. And on top of that, I'm using a black eyeshadow from Urban Decay called Blackout, just to set it and to prevent it from going on the eyelids. For her blush, I went in with Peaches by MAC. It's one of my absolute favorite blushes. I use this all the time on myself and love to use it on other people just because it's a beautiful universal peach shade. I defined her lips with Cork from MAC, and then I went in with a lipstick from Estee Lauder called Barely Nude.
I think that in this life you are going to be rejected a lot, as Jesus Christ was. And
True.
I think it prepares your soul. Like it puts there's something in you from being rejected and from going through tribulations. It creates a strength, especially if you're going through it with God.
Right.
And you can do it. Whatever you've been praying about and whatever you talked to God about, if that's what you're pursuing and you're getting rejected, He's in your corner. Like, those things don't, if I know that God is telling me to do something, the things that people are telling me that I can't do, it's just like, who are you?
Right.
Who are you supposed to be? Like, God's got this. What?
Right.
So keep going and know that rejection creates a strong heart.
And I'm sure that comes with time, right?
It comes with time, absolutely. And none of this is overnight. My relationship with God did not develop overnight. I definitely struggled for a long time with how to balance. And then I realized that it wasn't a balance. God's first, and
Right.
everything else follows. So when I was 15 and I had just started, and my mom and I were both new to the industry, the first photo shoot that I had actually, after I was signed, was a beauty shoot. So, here on up. And I wore like a strapless bra, and the photographer was like, could you take that off?
Oh my gosh.
And I also had my purity ring on as well. And I was supposed to take off all jewelry, right? So I put that down, and I looked at my mom and she was like, I don't know if that's normal. I don't.
Right.
And it's actually not weird or strange, but I was 15.
In that industry.
Right, in that industry it's not strange. But I had no idea that I would be asked to do that, especially
At 15.
at 15.
Yeah.
So I turned around and I adjusted myself and I took my bra off and I did this shoot, and coincidentally I left my ring there. I never got the ring back.
Gosh.
And I was like, that wasn't okay, because after I did it and we took the photos, my mom and I went to the car and I just started crying. And,
oh my gosh.
And so is she. She was like, because you want something,
Yeah.
right? So even she wanted this for me, so, and I wanted this, and so you adjust
Yes.
to what people want. So yeah, and then I went to my agency and they were like, oh, they should not have done that. That was they should have been aware of your age, but if you were older, they would have asked you to do that, no problem. But at 18, I don't think that would have been any more comfortable.
Right.
And you think it's not a big deal until it happens.
Yeah.
And if you don't know any better, but the thing is, everyone's there. You've got the photographer and 3 different people to assist, and the makeup artist and the clothing person.
So you feel the pressure.
Yeah.
And you don't want to look dumb, no,
Yeah,
I'm not.
or inexperienced, and
So what would you have done different?
I would have not done that. I would have gotten up and walked away, honestly, because it's not worth it. It's not worth giving a piece of yourself. Because just talking about it now,
I'm sure you always remember what you felt, right?
Yeah.
Feeling of being vulnerable like that at such a young age, but here you are being able to share that with other women.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I hope and pray that women, you know, that are that young in that industry or that want to be in that industry can hear your story and know that they can say no.
Yeah.
And it's not worth feeling like you're selling a piece of your soul or you're giving a piece of yourself.
And it helps to have people around you with the same beliefs that you have and the same desires and morals and values.
To just hold you up and keep you rooted.
And to say that it's okay that you said no to that.
Yes. So that you don't feel like the odd person.
Yeah, the person that caused the trouble.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. I think Sam had such an incredible, powerful story. Just to hear her talk about her experiences and having the courage to be able to say no. And it is okay to stand up for what you believe in and having the courage to be able to set boundaries no matter how you're going to be perceived. You know, it takes one person to say that for other people to be able to make that same stand. There's a great challenge in her story also to think about the way that we want to be perceived, whether it's in the modeling industry, whether it's on social media. So make sure that you're representing God in everything that you do. We'll see you next time on Redefined.